Hi Leo, my ascendant brothers and sisters. Welcome to your week ahead taroscope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and it resonates, hit that subscribe button. If you are already a continued subber, you know I love you. With that said, if you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can do so on the website address below. And if you haven't, no, that was it. And before we start, as always, I would like to bless all of my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help you on your path, or should I say us on our paths to our highest vibrational good. So, as you can see, I am doing things differently once more. You know me, I like to keep it switched up. I like to keep it different. So every month when I do your reading, I will give you a breakdown of the week by week. So I've kind of come to this conclusion, like through some thinking about what I was doing and how I was doing it. It makes more sense to utilize the energy of the week that come up in your monthly, to utilize that so that we can see what the energy is that's permeating your week and how it might show up for you. So this week, what you got or what we got was the Judgment card, right? February was a serious message for us, right? And I'm already seeing moments of this playing up. Not exactly as I expected, but I'm definitely seeing it play out in big ways. So here we go, right? You got the Judgment card as the energy for the week, or the key to the week. And what this is saying is, this is blast from the past energy. It's culmination energy. It is where the decks are cleared so that something else can be laid. Whenever you see the Judgment card, this is always telling you that big changes, big shifts are on the horizon, and usually it means that something or someone is coming back into the fold to bring something up so that it can be looked at, processed, assimilated, and then finally released. And not only that, we're just off when you get to the start of this week, you know, just because obviously I've filmed these the week before slightly, as we get to the 10th of February, we're just off the back of the Leo full moon. So this in and of itself will have brought something to light, or really highlighted some aspect of life for us. So let's have a look at the different sectors of life for the week ahead. And this week, for the actions and the path, we get the Death card, right? This is crazy. If you've seen the weekly general, not the weekly general, if you've seen the February video, right, for gosh, I'm having trouble speaking now, that's the Mercury retrograde kicking in, but the Death card and the Judgment card came up twice. It was a double hit of this energy. So we've got the Death card in the actions and the path, right? The actions and the path is what you do. And the fact that you have the Death card here underneath, literally permeated by the energy of the Judgment card, what this is basically saying is there are some things that come to an end that we have no control over, and we're not supposed to. Whenever you see the Death card, yes, it's an ending, yes, it's a completion, but what is one of the only things that every single human being, no matter where you are from, no matter what your status, no matter what you own, how much you're worth, any of that, come young person, come old, right? Whatever your walk of life is, we are all guaranteed that at some point we are going to pass through the gate of death. Right? This is one of the only things that not one of the only things, but it's one of the truest and biggest things that we all have in common. When this is on your path and it's connected to that Judgment card, this does say that something this week for us Leos is about to come to an end. And rather than fight against it or rally against it, you need to stand aside and let it take place. You just need to let whatever or whoever it is that's being phased out of your life be phased out. And the Death card as a card of action, it's basically a card of no action, right? When you consider as well, like the Hanged Man is surrendering to what is, but the Death card is basically release. This is whatever it is that's shaping up for you in your life path this week. In order for you to get to where you truly want to be, you are going to have to allow what is taking place at this moment in time, whatever that means to you. communications and conversations, we have the Page of Cups, right? So this is interesting because even in the midst of all of this sort of heavier energy, it does look like the communications and conversations this week are going to be of a creative or artistic sort of nature. And even if it's not necessarily those things, this is about you really stepping back and just kind of saying, you know what, I just have to be along for the ride. Your Page of Cups is a beautiful card, but it is a very creative, intuitive, loving sort of energy. This is in your communications and conversations, so you could very well be in your feels this week. You could really be talking about your emotions, finding ways to process your emotions. The fact that it falls opposite that the Death card, this could really be you looking at the way that things are and deciding, okay, you know what? This is kind of how it is. This is how it's shaping up. It's almost like there's a moment where you will have a surrender point, but there'll also be a moment where you come to understand that how you feel doesn't necessarily reflect on the way that things have been up until now. Whatever that means to you, it does look like there's some sort of realization coming this week, and the way that it will come is through observation and probably through the conversations that you have. So it might be that you're talking to a friend or somebody that's really insightful, that says something to you that makes you go, okay, you know what, actually that rings true for me, or it helps me understand at least how I actually feel. I never ever, interestingly enough, when I was young, and the first time I ever saw somebody who had passed away, I never felt, I expected to see something really scary and something that would make me afraid and that was monstrous. But it wasn't that at all. What I actually felt was just an absence of life. It was literally just like there was just nothing there. Like the body was there, but there was nothing else. There was no vibrancy or life energy because there wasn't, right? The Page of Cups can see us looking inward at our feelings. Very often it sees us observing how we feel. If you are feeling numb to something, if you are feeling like, you know what, I'm not really sure how to feel about that or how I actually feel, this talking to somebody or conversing with somebody that is very insightful, somebody that's deep, or maybe even just somebody that makes you giggle, but it helps you see something from a different perspective, that is ultimately a new perspective gained. And that can't ever really be a bad thing. So your money and materials this week, you have, I was talking about the Hanged Man, and here it is. You've got the Hanged Man, right? So an interesting one for you this week, because I feel, especially with the Judgment card, it may be that this week somebody's going to ask you for help. So, and this will very likely be financial help. Maybe it will be monetary in some way, shape or form. This is a really interesting turn of events as well, because I kind of feel like where I know this is going. And your Hanged Man is basically saying this week somebody may very well ask you for your help. Excuse me. It will very likely be financial help. And the question that you're going to have to ask yourself is, one, do I have it to give? Do I truly have it to give and not expect or want or need it in return? Because that's very likely the energy. Whenever you see the Hanged Man and it relates to money, don't expect to have it back. This is going to be something that you're going to have to cut or remove as a loss. The fact that it comes through the guise of the Judgment card, this could be somebody that you haven't seen in a while. Now, what I will tell you is with the cards present, and especially with the Judgment card, the chances are whatever they are facing is truly a problem. Like, it's not like they're not just spinning you a line to squeeze you for money. But your Hanged Man is also about reassessment and reevaluation. So what you need to ask yourself is, how invested am I in this person and how much time has passed? Am I really there for it? Just consider that this week when it comes to finances and money. Now, interestingly enough, the second house for Leo is Virgo, right? So therefore the 8th house for Leo is Pisces, which suggests, because Mercury is going retrograde on the 16th, it will station to go retrograde on the 17th. That will be the retrograde period, and it's retrograding in your 8th house, right? Especially if you're an ascendant Leo. And this is all to do with other people's money, other people's finances. Mercury is in Pisces as well. It's not necessarily functioning at its best there. If you haven't got yours, check out the retrograde survival kit. It's currently £10 off. It will help you for across the board, all retrogrades, not just this one. And also, it's just worth considering that. This is, just keep an eye on your finances and your P's and Q's when it comes to money. And the reason I say that is because, like I said, this person does genuinely need your help, but you are going to need to consider that it is a loss. It's not going to be a loan. This is going to be something that you have to kind of just say, you know what, if I'm going to give it, I have to give it and not expect anything in return. That's going to be the best way for you to utilize this energy. Your love and relations, you have the 5 of Cups. Man, I know what this is for me. I know exactly what it is, and I know exactly how this is going to play out. For those of you that are single, it could be that you're realizing that somebody, maybe somebody that you desire, maybe somebody that you're connected with, isn't going to be around for much longer. For those of you that are in relationships or established bonds, this card, especially right underneath the Page of Cups, this could see you really considering what it is that you're no longer willing to accept from a partner, that you're no longer willing to accept from the bond or the union that you have. And this could be a really tough, challenging week, especially with off the back of the Leo full moon, right? Because this is going to create that sort of idea of you understanding, I know what needs to change, I know how I'm stepping forward, but also what it creates for me is this understanding of where it is that I can do my stuff and where it is that somebody else needs to do theirs. Now, aside from all of this, to take it completely outside of this, 5 of Cups, loss, mourning, traditional grief, loss, grief, and traditional mourning. The Death card and the Judgment card. Whenever you see these two cards together, physical death somewhere is assured. The fact that this comes through the 5 of Cups, for some of you, and it's not lucky because it's a sad thing to hear of, right? But it's a natural part of life. No matter which way we want to paint it, that is a simple fact. Whenever I see this card, and because it is in the love and relations, it may be a family member, it may be an extended family member. I know somebody recently posted about their pet. And pets are like family, as far as I'm concerned anyway. Our animal counterparts deserve our love just as much, in fact, more so than humans sometimes, but that's my Aquarius talking. So, so that is something to consider, but it does look like it may be a message that comes forward this week where you find out that somebody's sick or somebody has passed. And again, with the cards that are present and the energy that it just kind of feels there, I feel like it will be sudden. I just don't get this sense that it's going to be this long, drawn out, painful, ugly situation. I just feel like it's going to be and done, just quiet and quick and over, which is all any of us can ever really ask for. I'm sorry to have to be the bearer of challenging news, but you guys know me by now, and I never, I just give it to people the way that I feel they need to hear it, rather than sort of, just glossing over it, because then when it comes up, it creates the question of, well, why wasn't it foreseen? We can't foresee everything, but when something is presented to you like this, if you haven't seen your February reading, please go to the month of February, check out your monthly reading. For these cards to come up like this in this sequence, the universe is speaking. And if I don't trust myself and the universe enough to be the mouthpiece for it, I might as well get out of what I'm doing now. All right. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Please, if it's not too personal and you're not too affected, share, because I'd just like to see how this plays out for everybody else, because I already get a sense of how this is going to play out for me. And now I just need to really find a way to traverse it. If you haven't seen the weekly general, it's a lot lighter and brighter than this. And I'm hoping that we all in some way, shape or form get to tap into that energy as well. Take care, and I'll see you soon.